Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Anyone watching this video at least has one favorite star from Hollywood, but what you may not know is that Hollywood is like a close community and most people know each other not because they work in the same place, but because they're connected. Some were always pretty open about it and some were still secret until recently. Interesting, right? So let's see what Hollywood stars have family connections with other stars. Before we start though, make sure you subscribe to the channel. A bunch of fun videos are on their way to your screens. Let's dive in. Number 1. Jonah Hill and Beanie Feldstein. Jonah Hill has been in the comedy movie scene for over 2 decades now. His work in many different movies like 21 and 22 Jump Street is most known, as well as his other parts in the many different movies. However, his sister, Beanie Feldstein, rose to fame recently by her role in 2019's Booksmart, and the fact that this funny duo are actually siblings surprised both of their fans. It's only natural why we were not able to identify them in the wild because, first, they are 10 years apart, and Jonah uses his middle name, Hill. They get along pretty great. They are like best friends with each other and always excited for each other's projects. Jonah even got her name tattooed on his wrist because nothing says family better than permanent ink. Number 2. Conan O'Brien and Denis Leary. Conan O'Brien is a TV sensation. His late-night giggly talk show is watched worldwide, and while stand-up is not that popular in the electronic media among newer generations, the potty-mouthed stand-up comedian and actor Denis Leary may not give out promising resemblance, but in fact, they are third cousins by marriage. Now that we know that they are related, it explains they both are Irish-American celebrities born and raised in Boston, where entire clans relocated in the 19th and 20th century, married in with the family or with other redheads of the New World. Leary has appeared on O'Brien's various talk shows many times, with the pair often greeting one another as "cuz." Number 3. Warren Beatty and Shirley MacLaine. Talent obviously runs strong in the Beatty gene pool. Warren Beatty and sister Shirley, born Shirley MacLaine Beatty, and thus altering the spellings of her middle and last names, while her brother modified only their surname spelling, have 2 Oscars between them and continue to work in movies even into their 80s. Surprisingly, the brother and sister have never worked together in film, although they both appeared briefly as themselves in the 1999 documentary Forever Hollywood. Number 4. Nicolas Cage and Francis Ford Coppola. Nicolas Cage is a famous actor as an adult, but if you were not paying attention watching Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you have probably missed the tiny parts of Nicolas Cage where he was 17 at the time, and don't look for his name in the credits because he was billed under his real name, Nicolas Coppola. Cage's uncle is none other than winemaker-filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, but he changed his name professionally while still in his teens to forge his own path and avoid charges of nepotism. Number 5. Rashida Jones and Peggy Lipton. Sadly, we lost the Mod Squad actor Peggy Lipton to cancer at the age of 72. However, luckily we are happy to report that her legacy will live on in the name of her multi-talented daughter, Rashida Jones. She's a 42-year-old singer, producer, and actress of Parks and Recreation fame, is also the daughter of music Mavin Quincy Jones, whom she recently directed a documentary about that debuted on Netflix. Number 6. Quincy Jones and Tupac Shakur. Speaking of music producer Quincy Jones, his other daughter with Peggy Lipton, Khadida Jones, was engaged to late rapper Tupac Shakur at the time of his death. And while Tupac's life was tragically cut short by an assassin's bullets on the Las Vegas Strip in 1996, he was only 25. Khadida Jones still refers to the Keep Ya Head Up performer and posthumous inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the love of my life. Just imagine what Tupac might have accomplished had he lived long enough for The Q to officially become his father-in-law. Oh, what might have been. Number 7. Kate Spade and David Spade. It's not always that people take a tragic incident in their lives and turn it into the motivation to represent the person who was part of the tragedy and turn it into a lifelong memorial, and that's exactly what comedian David Spade has done after the suicide of his sister-in-law, Kate Spade. David recently returned to television with Lights Out on Comedy Central in the 11:30 p.m. slot immediately following The Daily Show. Kate was a fashion designer and she was married to David's brother for 24 years before she ended her life. Number 8. Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Leigh. If I could be a maternal for a moment, those words were spoken to Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, by the matronly Norma, who was played by none other than the original Scream Queen Janet Leigh, Psycho, in 1998's Halloween H20, 20 years later, which was supposed to be the final, for real this time, follow-up to the Halloween movie. However, there have since been at least 4 more in the intervening years, and 2 with Curtis, but we disagree. Who could forget 1998 theatergoers chuckling knowing that Leigh was, of course, the real-life mother of Curtis, who changed the spelling of her mother's maiden name when she started acting. And 38 years earlier, Leigh fell victim to the cross-dressing Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins, and his butcher knife in the infamous shower scene in Psycho. So it was only natural her daughter would one day find herself also facing off against a masked boogeyman like Michael Myers. Like mother, like daughter. Number 9. Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson. Melanie Griffith was the 80s darling. Melanie Griffith came to early prominence in Brian De Palma's noir-ish Body Double in 1984. With Griffith none too shy about showing off some skin for the cameras, you know how it used to be, for art's sake clearly. Skip forward 31 years, and Griffith's daughter, Dakota Jones, also bared it all on screen in the first of the 50 Shades movie, which somehow made enough money to spawn 2 sequels. Johnson is actually a third-generation star, much like Jamie Lee Curtis, whose mother, Janet Leigh, worked with Alfred Hitchcock in Psycho. Melanie Griffith's mom, Tippi Hedren, also found herself at the mercy of wicked forces in Hitchcock's The Birds. Number 10. Jenny McCarthy and Melissa McCarthy. Sure, McCarthy isn't exactly an uncommon surname, but we can report that, in this case, there is a relation between 2 of Hollywood's 2 most known celebs of that time. Yup, 2.5 Men star and former The View co-host Jenny McCarthy is cousin to Melissa McCarthy. She of Bridesmaids fame and recent Oscar nomination for Can You Ever Forgive Me? People reports that during her tenure on The View, Jenny actually helped cause Melissa land a job on Jenny's short-lived sitcom. After all, what are famous relatives for anyway? Number 11. Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci. Other than being co-stars on The Devil Wears Prada, they have a lot in common. Tucci is her brother-in-law, and he is married to Emily's sister, Felicity Blunt, who is known as a camera-shy literary agent with exceptional taste. Marie Claire reports that Felicity has been a loving stepmom to Tucci's 3 children, whose mother died in 2009 after losing her battle with breast cancer. Also of note is that Emily Blunt is married to actor John Krasinski, with whom she starred in the strangely effective horror flick A Quiet Place, which her husband also directed. Number 12. Christian Bale and Gloria Steinem. The heavy-voiced Batman and the American Psycho actor, Christian Bale, needs no introductions when it comes to his contributions to the film industry. With a stepmom like feminist icon Gloria Steinem, perhaps it's little wonder the whole world was shocked that Christian Bale let his potty mouth run away with him on the set of Terminator Salvation. After the audio leaked, Bale's expletive-filled rant at a lighting designer quickly became so infamous that it led to a host of memes and was even turned into a dance remix by some rather enterprising musicians. There are many other stars who are related to each other, famous personalities one way or another, so what are your favorite related stars? Share with us in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.